Hello and welcome to another Spectrum Geeks video. My name is Dale, and in today's video we're going to talk about this. It's the Ryobi Cordless Pole Saw, also affectionately known as the OPP1820. I'm going to talk to you through the specs, how it all goes together, and then show it to you working, and then give you my final thoughts whether this is something that you should consider. If you've got tall trees and branches you need to get to and you don't want to be wobbling on a ladder with a chainsaw. Okay, so thanks for tuning into this video. So we'll go through the specs and kind of the information, everything you get in the box from Ryobi. So as you'd expect, you get everything you need in the box. Obviously the pruning saw itself, you get a small little bottle of oil, which we'll go through in a moment. You get a long Allen key that enables you to be able to adjust the blade here, as well as one of the extension rods, which basically extends this to 3 meters. I think, but don't quote me on it, I think you can buy additional ones of those that can extend it all the way up to 4 meters if you want to. And you also get a shoulder strap that enables you to kind of take the weight a little bit, which is obviously probably really important when you've got it in the extra long mode. If we look at the main head unit just here, again we will do some close-ups so you can see all the information. Standard obviously Ryobi colourway. You get this blade or saw protector cover. Obviously you want to keep that on to make sure that you know, it's not jumping up against anything when you're storing it. Also it will help it not blunt. At the top here is an oil reservoir. You need to put oil in there. As mentioned, it does come with it, and this basically automatically oils both the bar and the chain at the same times. As you can see on the sticker, it's 8 inches or 20 centimeters in terms of the bar, and 15 centimeters, that is what's visible. So it's that 15 centimeters that will define kind of how thick a branch you can cut. It is an Oregon bar, so apparently good quality and should be stable and last as needed. In terms of power, it's a high torque motor in there and will rotate around 5.5 meters a second. And it's actually not too bad in terms of loudness. Obviously you'll hear it in a moment, but it's around 94 decibels, obviously if you're really close to it, but you can probably be 2 to 3 meters away when you're using this. It has a 30-degree angled chain, so obviously for the cutting head it's a good angle for positioning. You can see there's a little hook underneath here. That's obviously, you can use that for propping up against the branch while you're cutting it. Also if things get a little bit stuck in there, you can obviously use that to kind of pull the branch out the way, because obviously you don't want to be on a ladder dangling around with this. The bars are actually made out of fiberglass, and they are connected through a couple of rivets, so not sure how that's going to kind of last over time. I guess worst case you can always maybe drill those out if it does become a problem in the future. But you can see there's electrical connections on the inside which basically connect the main kind of battery unit and obviously allow that electrical connection all the way up to the cutting head itself. As mentioned already, automatic lubrication does happen, and on the one side here you can see there is a little window to give you an indication of how much fluid is in there. As with any of these chainsaw type products, be careful when you're storing it. You want to store it kind of upright like this. If you're kind of storing it at an angle or upside down, you may have some oil leakage, so either empty it out every time, which is probably a bit of a faff, or just make sure you store it in a somewhat upright position. In terms of weight, in its kind of smallest form, it weighs around 3.7 kilograms. Obviously if you've got all the extension rods on and the shoulder strap and everything, it's around 6 kilograms, so not mega weighty, but not super light. And in terms of kind of how long will it last in terms of battery performance, obviously it is going to vary based on how many cuts you're doing, how hard those cuts are, and what battery you're using. Ryobi do say if you use a 5 amp hour battery, typical cutting, you should be able to get 100 cuts out of a 5 amp hour battery from this. So let's put it all together, switch it on, and then we'll go and do a couple of truck cuts that I need to do around the house. So a couple of things to note, obviously with all these chainsaws you need to make sure you have a good chain tension on the bar. I'm not an expert, so always make sure you read the manual or ask someone who is an expert, but you tend to want to have a little bit of looseness on the chain, so obviously when things heat up the metal will expand a little bit, but you don't want it too kind of sloppy that it's all over the place. When you do need to adjust it, you do get the Allen key included. So there's a section here with the Allen key that you use to unlock the bar. That will enable it to move forwards and backwards a little bit, which you can adjust by a very small Allen key just on this other side. Also, depending on how you use it, how much kind of bark, debris and etc. comes off, you may find that you get a bit of crud stuck in the chain bar here, because you can use the kind of longer end of the Allen key to kind of scrape some of that out, but from time to time and for cleaning you will have to kind of undo this completely and kind of give things a bit of a clean out. So I'll put the protective cover back on whilst we mess around with things. And so what we will do here, whether you're using it in its kind of shortest form or to the full extension, the process is the same. So you get one of the extension bars like this. You can see that it's got electrical connections on both sides, but for the connection to the head you just want to plug it in, make sure that the connections are in the right orientation, so it should only go in one way. Just put this together. Okay, so you can see just like this, there is a kind of little bar that kind of protrudes and connects into here, and you basically just get the other end and just hand tighten it. You don't need to use any tools. And that's now locked in position, and we can get the other piece and connect it on for where the main control unit is. Okay, so if we do look at the main unit, we have a dead man switch on the top here that obviously needs to be depressed to allow power to be supplied up the shaft to the main chainsaw head. And as with all Ryobi products, you've got the same kind of universal battery setup, and as mentioned we're going to use it with the 5 amp hour, and again same connection. In terms of holding it ergonomics wise, it does sit quite nicely in the hand, as with all Ryobi tools, kind of nice hand position here, and there is like a soft rubber foamy kind of grip here that you can obviously use when you're holding it. And then, as mentioned, we'll connect this up in a moment, but you have one kind of strap piece here, another piece at the top to enable the shoulder strap to be connected to help you with the weight. So I'll get those things connected up, then we'll put some oil in, and we're going to head off into the wooded area to chop back some of these trees. Okay, so then our final stage before we get cutting is again just to pop some oil in here. There is a little filter in the top there. Probably something we should pop out as we fill this up. Okay, so I'll just pop that little filter out, pop in again at the end. Probably best to use a funnel or something, which I don't have handy at the moment. Again, it shouldn't take up too much oil to go into this small reservoir. And again, any chain or bar oil you can get in the future should be good for this. You can see there now the window's kind of filled up with oil, so pop that filter back in. Do up the lid, and we're good to go do some cutting. One thing I always want to make sure I mention in these Ryobi videos is massive fan of Ryobi, never really had any issues with them, which is why I continue to buy them, but make sure when you buy your product you do register it online at the portal to get the full 3-year warranty. I've done another video on that because I forgot to do it once, and I did have one product fail. It didn't get covered under the warranty, so make sure you do that. Right, let's head down to the woods and sort out some cutting. Okay, so it's not my intention to tell you how to use any saw and what protection you should wear. Obviously you can make your own decision. I've decided, because obviously the blade is away from me, I'm happy just to wear some gloves in case I need to pull anything away, and just some eye protection, but don't feel I need to put on the old chainsaw helmet and everything. Quick tip, again, not an instructional video, but when you are cutting longer branches, you want to make a slight cut from the underneath, just kind of a couple of centimeters in. That will enable that when you then cut from the top, branch has a little bit of movement to kind of sag down. And you can complete the cut and just kind of nip things off close to the end to kind of wrap everything up. So I'm just going to chop this branch down, which is overhanging a little bit. There's quite a few in this area that I need to kind of sort out. Okay, so with the shoulder straps on and everything, again you just hear the noise, not too bad. So again we'll just come in, stop here, just like cut underneath. Okay, that's sufficient there. Then we'll just rest the saw on the top and then we can cut down. Okay, then we can just complete a nice cut off top here, chop it off the main trunk of the drill. Okay, so our first cut. I'll do a couple more and I'll let you know my thoughts. Okay, so you can see here, I need to re-tension the chain. That's one thing I didn't do actually, I didn't make sure it was tight before I started. So just tie that up and then I'll finish a few more cuts, let you know what I think. It's actually really easy to adjust, not sure how well it shows up on the camera. Because that Allen key is quite long, you can turn around without interfering with the blade. So, yeah. Tighten that back up. I'm back in business. Okay, so what do I think? I've done most of the cuts I wanted to do today, and actually I'm really impressed with it. Again, my own fault for not making sure that the chain, everything was tensioned properly before I started, so it did come loose after a couple of the first cuts. But since I tightened it all up, which was really easy, it's all worked really, really well. There is a little bit of kind of flimsiness of a feeling, I guess, with the fiberglass shafts when you've got it at such a long extension, but once you kind of get used to that feeling, It does cut really well, no issues, and you can see from when I cut earlier, just that's a really nice clean cut. I'm impressed with how kind of sharp the chain is remaining. And again, the only thing with that kind of flexibleness of those shafts is it is a little bit hard to get a feel for how kind of quickly it's cutting through. So you just kind of have to adjust kind of your brain process to kind of knowing, okay, it's going to go any moment. But having that strap on is really helpful. So it just means if you do have to jump out the way, you haven't got a big unwieldy weight that you're trying to kind of wobble around with. So I recommend this saw, as all the other Ryobi products. They don't tend to disappoint. There'll be a link down in the description if you want to get it from the Spectrum Geeks Amazon store. Obviously, get it from other places, just get it from Amazon. It does help support the channel, but obviously get it for the best price that you can. So thanks so much as always for watching. If this video has been helpful, please like, consider subscribing. Also consider supporting the channel directly as a Spectrum Geeks YouTube member. It's just 99p a month and you can cancel at any time. So till the next video, take care of yourself and goodbye for now.